So there are many different theories of gender, and mine is just one. Sometimes people who really hate gender name me as the one who made this up, but that's actually not true. You know, in my view, everybody has a theory of gender. And what I mean by that is that everybody has certain assumptions going about what gender is or should be. And at a certain point in life, we ask ourselves, wow, where did that assumption come from? At this point, I'm less concerned about whose theory is right and whose theory is wrong, because the assault on gender is also an assault on democracy. We have the power and the freedom to make more livable lives for ourselves, where bodies can be more free to breathe, to move, to love without discrimination and without fear of violence. I am Judith Butler, Distinguished Professor in the Graduate School at the University of California at Berkeley. I teach literature, philosophy, and critical theory, and I'm most well known for my 2 books on gender, Gender Trouble and Bodies That Matter, from the early 1990s. My work has been translated into more than 27 languages. I insist that what it is to be a woman, or indeed what it is to be a man or any other gender, is an open-ended question. We have a whole range of differences, biological in nature, so I don't deny them. But I don't think they determine who we are in some sort of final way. At the heart of these controversies is the distinction between sex and gender. But what is that distinction? How do we think about it? Sex is generally a category that is assigned to infants that has importance within medical and legal worlds. Gender is a mix of cultural norms, historical formations, family influence, psychic realities, desires and wishes, and we have a say in that.
Ben Barres was not just a scientist, he was a pioneer and a fighter for truth both in science and in life. He spent his career studying the brain, focusing on the glial cell, small, often overlooked cell that help the brain work properly. Because of his research, we now understand how these cells protect and support our neurons, the messenger of our body. But Ben's story goes beyond science. He was the first openly transgender scientist elected to the U.S. National Academy of Science. Born as a girl, but Ben knew he was truly a boy. And when he transitioned, he did so with courage in a world that wasn't always ready to accept him. Ben didn't just fight for knowledge, he fought for fairness. He spoke out for women, and especially to the LGBTQ+ people, for every young mind that felt unseen in science. Through his work and his voice, Ben Barres taught us this: be curious, be brave, and be yourself, and never be afraid to speak up for what is right.
For decades, the world of science and technology was seen as man-made, but today, more women and members of LGBTQA+ community are proving otherwise.
He would like us to forget the words, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free."
On January 21st, barely 24 hours after Donald Trump took the oath of office, huge crowds took to the streets to protest his presidency and support women's rights and human rights. The protests were massive, and they took place not just across the United States, but in more than 600 locations all over the world. In Australia, in Georgia, in Vancouver, Canada, in the Czech Republic, in Germany, and in London, England.
There's a whole lot of times I am the only woman in the room. And sometimes it's a little hard to get used to. But if you can embrace it and recognize you're making a pathway for that next woman behind you, you've got opportunities, take advantage of them, and we can all grow from that. And so can our society.
Well, it's important for women scientists to be here because I think there are still too few of us. And there's a lot of issues in academia and science to bring about equality for female scientists, women scientists. And so having representation and a face out there hopefully encourages the younger kids to come out and march with us and do science with us as well.
Historically, women have not been encouraged to study science. I think that's very important to change that because we're half the population.
I think that people sort of underestimate you as a woman. People just kind of assume that maybe you're still a PhD student even after you've been a postdoc for a while.
I would tell other female scientists, no matter how hard it may seem, it's absolutely worth it.
We have here a STEM student at CSUCC, so she will be sharing her experience about gender stereotyping in the STEM field. I've been fascinated by science since I was a child. Taking apart old electronics, building things, understanding how things work, it's always been my passion. And this course was the natural next step for me in pursuing that. Well, yes, there have been instances that like my ideas being dismissed more easily than my male colleagues, or being overlooked for leadership roles despite my qualifications. Or I'm just imagining things. But sometimes, yes, there are moments that I feel like my ideas aren't taken seriously. It's hard to say for sure, but it does make me a little sad because I truly believe everyone deserves a chance to shine regardless of their gender. It's a bit disheartening when you feel like you have to work twice as hard to be seen as half as good. So, let's challenge gender stereotype and promote equal opportunity of all. Gender equality is not just a woman issue, it's a human issue.
What challenges do women and LGBTQ+ community often face in science and technology fields?
Hello everyone, my name is Keneterso M. Leopoldo. I'm just a social worker for a year now. Actually, there were a lot of challenges and problems that our women and the LGBTQ+ community faces in the scope of gender in the field of science and technology. Some of them includes lack of access to opportunities, discrimination, stereotypes, and other things that might affect them, especially in the pursuit of their respective fields.
What is your message to those who feel unseen or unheard in the world of science and technology?
My advice would be continue to strive and remember that you belong and your voice matters now more than ever. Just because you may not feel seen or heard today doesn't mean that you cannot make significant impact for tomorrow. You know what? Science and progress relies on diverse perspective, and that includes your perspective. Your ideas, questions, thoughts, and even your breakthroughs moves boundaries to what is possible. That is why it is important for us to nurture the idea that regardless of your gender, every step you take matters and contributes meaningfully to the development of science and technology.
Allow me to stand on the existing protocols already acknowledged. President of the General Assembly, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tesindala. I am from Malawi. This morning, I'll be speaking to you on the notion that the youth count, the future is now. I've worked with young women and men from diverse backgrounds. And one thing I have realized is that we share in our challenges. To this day, we're still finding our way through long-standing inequalities that have been birthed from discrimination, a lack of voice, financing, and support. To this day, so many young people fail to access education. And this is because of poverty, early marriages, sex preferences, among the many social factors. Our programs and interventions are not being funded because of a lack of recognition for their importance. Young women and girls are disproportionately affected by these challenges. distinguished guests, this year, our CSW implores us on the quest to accelerate the achievement of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. I urge each and every one of us to make a deliberate effort in supporting us young people, considering our diversities, protecting us against all forms of discrimination.
Empower yourself. Your strength is not measured by your looks. It is measured by your actions. You are stronger than you think.
Women rise, cycle thrives.
Equality is not a destination, it's a journey. Empower women, empower the world. Don't limit your dreams, limit gender stereotypes. Empowering women, empowering humanity.
Small changes, big impact. Advocate for gender inequality.
Invest in a woman, invest in progress. Challenge gender norms, change the world. Break the mold.
Celebrate diversity, champion equality.
Gender equality, it's not a woman's issue. It's a human issue.
Gender stereotypes have been oppressed in many years. Para sa lahat, isulong natin ang pagbabago.